सर नमस्ते।
क्या करे थे
सर? डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग मोनोपोली में प्रॉफिटेबल केस कंप्लीट हुआ था सर।
प्रणाम सर।
हाँ, कुछ और क्या पढ़ना है पुष्कर?
सर कल तो मेरा कनेक्शन ही खराब हो गया था सर, इतना इंटरनेट का इशू था, मेरा क्लास ही नहीं हो पाया। वैसे अगर आप डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग मोनोपोलिस्ट पढ़ाए थे सर कल।
कल पूरा हो गया पूरा?
जी जी
अपलोड हो गया, देख लो।
हाँ देख लेंगे सर उसको।
अब क्या टॉपिक है तुम्हारा इधर माइक्रो का?
सर माइक्रो में
डिमांड बाकी है सर, अभी जो डिमांड डेरिवेशन,
डिफेंस पैराडॉक्स ये सब बाकी है सर थोड़ा।
हाँ
लॉ ऑफ डिमांड नहीं हुआ है?
नहीं सर।
नहीं सर, लॉ ऑफ डिमांड, इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड, ये सब चीज नहीं हुआ है सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून। लॉ ऑफ डिमांड other things remaining the same. Other things remaining the same. Higher is the price, lower is the demand, and and lower is the price, higher is the demand. Demand is a function of price. DD by DP is less than 0. That is inverse relationship between price and demand. Demand, price, schedule, price 1, 2, 3, demand 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. This is demand. Demand is a function of price. 1, 2, 3. This is price. Demand curve is downward sloping. Downward sloping from left to the right. Demand curve is downward sloping from left to the right. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
sir, this whole demand should be for a single consumer, or there can be multiple consumer in this demand curve.
Single consumer. Multiple consumer will be market demand.
Market demand.
Suppose this is demand for A consumer, this is demand for B consumer. Then we will have this distance and this distance taken together. This distance taken together. This is dA plus dB. This is called sigma demand. This is called market demand. Market demand curve. Price is P1, P2, P1, P2, A. Buyer A is buyer B. That is individual. In individual demand curve. This is market demand curve. This is lateral summation. Demand for A, demand for B, aggregate market demand. So by lateral summation, bilateral summation of DA and DB demand curve. We can derive market demand. We can derive market demand. Both individual demand curve and market demand curve are downward sloping. From left to the right. Due to operation of law of demand. In the market. Have you written?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Lalan? Have you written?
Yes, sir.
Demand is a function of price, income, taste, fashion, population, climate, expectation, etc. The demand P price of X, demand for X. This is Y, income of the buyer. T, test. F, fashion. R, population. C, climate. E, expectation. So there are many factors determining demand for but in case of law of demand, demand for X good is determined by price of good X. Other factors constant. Other factors are constant and not influencing change in demand. When we talk about law of demand, law of demand, that is, demand is a function of price. Demand for X is a function of price of X. If we put here X, then we will put here X. So any change in dx will depend upon px. Demand for x depend upon price of x. Price of x, demand for x. Why is demand curve downward sloping? Why is demand curve downward sloping? Number 1 point is income effect. Number 2 point is substitution effect. Number 3 is increase in buyer. Number 4 is law of diminishing marginal utility. There are 4 factors which are responsible for downward sloping demand curve. When income taste, fashion, all are constant. Only we are discussing in law of demand for X is function of price of X. Demand for X good is the function of price of good X. Other things remaining the same. Other things remaining constant. Other things remaining constant. What is income effect? If price of good X falls, real income of the buyer increases. So buyer can buy more good X due to rise in real income. Created by fall in price of good X. Abhishek, price falls, real income increases,
Yes, sir.
and therefore he will
He
buy
can
more
afford.
of them.
Yes, sir.
Two is substitution effect. Price of X falls, but substitute good price is constant. It means substitute goods are relatively dearer and consumer buyer will substitute X for Y. X for Y would and demand for good X increases. This is clear, substitute goods.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Third is poor buyer, marginal buyer, which could not buy at that price because of non-affordability. As soon as price falls, marginal buyer will increase. Number of marginal buyers which were not covered after fall in price of X, they will be attempted to buy because their income will be sufficient to buy it. So new buyer, who were deprived buyer, with the marginal buyer, will join. So price of X goods falls. Many new marginal buyers will afford to buy good X. And so demand for good X increases as the price of good X falls. There are many left out buyer, marginal buyer, who could not afford it to buy. Tata thought about the nano car, but the nano car was not ready at 50,000 rupees, as it was expected. It is 1 lakh and even more than that. It could not be successful because this car was considered to be poor people car. And even poor is not ready to be called as poor. So it failed. But if you see a small car in Germany, very expensive and high quality.
7.2.
There is a high demand for it. No one would think that a small car means poor people car. But nano car was branded as poor people car. Garib Rath. Rath is always for rich. Garib Rath. The term is contradictory. Generally, Rath is used for king. Rath is used for rich people. Garib Rath. This is some psychological feeling among the poor people that they are not ready to be called poor. Therefore, Garib Rath name was given to a railway. Garib Rath. And this could not be so successful, but price is low. So large number of people preferred that air condition without the facilities of Rajdhani. But there is high demand among the lower income group, middle class group, Garib Rath ticket. So price of good X falls, many new marginal buyer will afford to buy good X, and so demand for good X increases as price of good X falls. And last point is diminishing marginal utility. In microeconomics, marginal utility is price. Marginal utility is equal to price. Maximize Z. Difference between this is expenditure. And this is total utility. So maximization of the difference is the aim of consumers' equilibrium. Necessary condition, del U by del QX minus del PX by del QX.
Sir, PX will be constant, no?
Del PX and QX is equal to 0. Del PX, del QX. This del U by del X is marginal utility of X. And here PX is constant, so it will be outside. And then this will be del QX by del QX. Is equal to 0. Then marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. Marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. How? It will be like this. Minus Px and del Qx by del Qs equal to 1. We will put it right side. Therefore, marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. So in microeconomics, in case of consumer, marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. And we find that I have written.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Look here. This is quantity of X. This is quantity of X. But this is marginal utility. And naturally, this is price. If we connect it, it will be marginal utility line. And if we connect it, demand curve, demand for X. So there is a relationship between marginal utility line and demand curve. Both are downward sloping. Demand curve originates from marginal utility, because marginal utility is equal to price. marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. So marginal utility of X downward sloping and demand curve is also downward slope. Demand curve is derived from marginal utility. Because marginal utility is equal to price of X. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, shouldn't it be marginal utility of X divided by the marginal utility of money is equal to price of X?
Marginal utility of
Of X,
commodity divided by
marginal utility of money.
money. That is not the price.
Yes, sir.
In equimarginal utility, we derive it. This is called marginal utility of money. Marginal utility of X by price of X is equal to marginal utility of money. So marginal utility of goods divided by price of goods will be equal to marginal utility of money. But don't you call it that marginal utility is equal to marginal utility of money. Marginal utility of X by price of X. Marginal utility of X by price of X is equal to marginal utility of money. This will be used when there are several goods, X, Y, Z. When you have single good, single commodity, then marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. This is single. This is the case of single. This is called two good. So this is given by Marshall that in single good X, we will have marginal utility of X by price of X, as we have proved it earlier with the help of utility maximization equation. Clear, Lalan? Is it clear, Lalan?
Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Have you read law of equimarginal utility?
You taught, sir, in offline class.
Oh,
No, sir. Actually,
and in online class, Abhishek, you have read
no,
law of
sir.
equimarginal utility?
No, sir.
Law of equimarginal utility?
No, sir.
Okay. So that we will discuss again.
Okay,
Here,
sir.
concentrate on single commodity.
Yes,
In
sir.
single commodity, marginal utility of X is price of X. When we use two commodity, then marginal utility of X by price of X will be marginal utility of money. That is not used here. Here we have taken marginal utility of X is equal to price of X. Contraction and expansion. Contraction and expansion in the, this is demand curve. Look here, if price falls,
Movement along the curve.
demand will increase. This is called expansion. Expansion of demand. We will call expansion of demand. Demand for X. Suppose price rises. This is called contraction. Contraction in demand. Price rises, contraction in demand. Price of X falls. Expansion in demand. Price price of X rises. Price of X rises. This is called contraction. Here price falls. This is expansion. Never speak increase or decrease.
Yes, sir.
ये बात यहाँ लिख लीजिए. Never speak. Contraction means decrease. Never speak decrease or increase. Never speak decrease or increase. Always speak. Always speak. Contraction and expansion. Contraction and expansion in contraction and expansion demand. Never speak increase or decrease. Clear?
Yes, sir. Because that would mean safety in demand curve. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah. Contraction expansion is related to only PX.
Along the curve, movement. Yes, sir.
And now this is demand. Upward shift. Downward shift. In demand curve. Upward shift in price of X is constant. Price of X is constant. But demand will change from M to N. And curve will change from D1 to D2. Due to increase in income. I am giving here only income, but you can put anything which you have written in equation. Increase in population, change in climate. Nowadays, there is a change in climate. In the market, demand for cotton goods will increase or woolen goods will increase
Cotton goods.
due to change in climate. So I have taken only income so that it will give you the direct effect, downward shift. This was N. So here there is increase and this is decrease. Due to decrease in income. So very, very important downward shift and upward shift. Why it comes into operation?
Sorry, sir.
There is no constant term. There is no constant term. Constant is Px and variable is Y or E or R or C or C. No assumption. Ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means other things remaining the same.
Constant.
No assumption. Ceteris paribus means other thing remaining the same. So this is called upward and downward shift. This is called increase or decrease. This is called decrease in demand. And this is called increase in demand. So there is a difference between increase in demand and decrease in demand and contraction and expansion in demand.
Yes, sir.
In BPSC, UPSC interview board, you will ask what is the difference between contraction and expansion and increase and decrease. You will say that increase in demand is happened when price is constant, but demand varies. Price is constant, but demand varies due to variation in other things remaining the same are not same.
Yes, sir.
That is assumption, ceteris paribus is
useless.
broken.
Yes, sir.
Have you written?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is very, very interesting topic. And always consider that increase and decrease is different than expansion and
Expansion and contraction.
conclusion लिख लीजिए.